好的，我们来说一下这个 structure. Let's talk about the structure. 除了 something 以外，which means in addition to something or besides something. 好，我们来看一下例子。Let's take a look at the example. Person A says, Person A 说，我很忙，我今天有3节课。I have 3 classes today. Okay. B says, 我除了有3节课以外，还有2个考试。Besides having 3 classes, in addition to having 3 classes, I also have 2 exams. Okay, so we put the subject I at the beginning and make sure you include the verb here and 还有 also the verb. There is another way to use the structure. We can just use a noun phrase here. We don't need to use 有 here. So besides, in addition to 3 classes, 除了3节课以外 I also have 我还有2个考试 I also have 2 tests. Either of these two is okay. 好吗？ The difference is just where you put the subject. If you put the subject at the very beginning, make sure you include the verb in the first clause as well. 好吗？ If you don't use the subject at the beginning, then you don't need to have the verb here. You can just say, besides 3 classes, I also have. You can put the subject and a verb in the second clause. So each way is fine. 好吗？ So one person does 2 different things. Okay. 好，那 let's take a look at another example. Person A says, 你会说中文吗? Do you speak Chinese? Do you know how to speak Chinese? B says, 我除了会说中文以外，还会说日文 right? Besides being able to speak Chinese, I also know how to speak Japanese. 我除了会 is the verb here. Know how to do something. 好 So we can use this structure, right? We can just put the noun phrase here. So that would be Chinese, right? Besides Chinese, in addition to Chinese. 除了中文以外 subject is I, 我还会说日文。我还会说日文。So either of these two is good. Now there is another situation. It's not one person does 2 things. It's different people do the same thing. Okay, let's take a look at the example. Person A says, 谁会说中文? Who speaks Chinese? B. 我会说中文 I speak Chinese. I know how to speak Chinese. Person C says, 除了 B 以外 besides person B, David 和 Sarah 也会说中文 David and Sarah also know how to speak Chinese. So we have 3 different people, right? Person B, David, Sarah, they all know how to speak Chinese. We use the adverb 也 好吗? In this case, we have 2 people do the same thing. We use 也 Besides person 1, person 2 also does this. Okay, 那我们来看一下these 2 practice sentences 好吗? Besides tea, I also like drinking Coke and coffee. Besides me, my mom also loves singing. So there are 2 different situations, right? The first one is one person likes 2 different things, or 3 even. 好, the second one is 2 different people. I and my mom, they do the same thing, right? They both love singing. So we need to put the structure. The first one, we need to use these 2 structures, either one. The second one, we need to use this structure, right? So first one, besides tea. 好，我们看一下 I, 我除了 like drinking tea, 喜欢喝茶以外，还喜欢喝可乐和咖啡。Or we can use this one, 除了茶以外 besides tea, 除了茶以外，我还喜欢喝咖啡和可乐。Okay? 好 the second one, so 除了 the first person, 除了我以外 My mom also. 我妈妈也喜欢唱歌 ，right？ 除了我以外，我妈妈也喜欢唱歌。Alright, so two different situations, we use different adverbs. Everyone be careful. So one person does two different things, we use 还. Two different people do the same thing, we use 也. And the phrase 除了以外 can be dropped. You can just say 除了茶，我还喜欢喝可乐和咖啡。除了我妈妈也喜欢唱歌。Okay? Alright, this is 除了以外。